Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closers Show. As always, Scott Carson, excited to be here today. And we have two guys that are doing some great stuff up in Detroit Tigerland, right? We got two very avid Tigers fans here, right, guys?
Absolutely.
There you go, when it comes to baseball season. But you guys are literally knocking it out of the park as well with some of the deals that you're doing. So I'll shut up, and I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. So we'll start first with you, Scott.
Scott Van Kampen from Detroit, Michigan, like Scott said. Great to be here.
And I'm Dennis Doherty, also from Detroit, Michigan. And I am also very glad to be here. Thanks for having us, Scott.
No problem. So talk a little bit about you guys prior to being in the note space. Scott, you've been in for how long now?
Well, we've been in about 2 years,
Okay.
I guess, in total. But before then, we were doing, we did vacant land, we did fix and flips, we did, we dabbled in tax sales. And then we started with notes in the second space. So we bought a couple seconds, had some experience with that, not necessarily so good, but and then we got started.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago with strictly first position.
Okay. Now, Dennis.
Yes.
One of the great things I always like to is when you have people that are working together is there's usually a yin and yang to a good, successful business partnership. And you guys have been working together for a while now.
About 10 years.
But that's a little bit of a time, You guys ever had any arguments?
We've come close a couple of times. I think on our last flip, we got a little pressure at the end.
Yeah.
And that's what really drove us out of that aspect of the business.
Really, why? Is it just because of the fact of values or rehab amounts or pricing?
Values and finding properties that would fit the model became an issue. And toward the very end, just the maybe the time involved and also the materials being put into the projects.
Sure.
And, you have to realize I'm not going to live in this house. Let's just flip it for the market value and get out.
That makes sense. Now, are you guys both doing this full time, or do you have full-time jobs as well, or how's that kind of work during your week?
We both have full-time jobs.
Okay.
At least 40 hours a week. I'm probably closer to 50, 60 sometimes. All depends on the time. But yeah, we still make it work.
Mm-hmm.
We communicate a lot in the telephone during the week, during the day, at night, and we try to structure a Saturday morning one-on-one every week.
Not every week. Nice.
Yeah,
That's
we're
really good. That's a way to
trying.
stay really in communication and see what's going on.
Yep.
Now, when you guys are getting in tapes, do you guys have specific things that you're working on, or is it the thing with Saturday? Hey, let's get together, see what we've got,
Correct.
or what we're going to make offers on?
Yeah, we definitely do that on Saturdays as well, but we'll still go through tapes during the week and, talk during the week and see what we like, what we don't like. But yeah, usually Saturdays when we get together, we go through the tapes in specific. So.
Okay. What's been the biggest surprise for you guys? I'm sure maybe it'll be a little bit different here of coming from the fix and flip background, 10 years of real estate investing. You probably had a few different things that we've worked on, or you guys worked on like everybody else does, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say has been the biggest surprise of coming onto the paper side?
Well, with me personally, I think it's been it's a little more complicated than most people might think it is.
Right.
There's a lot of, T's to cross, I's to dot, and things like that. And, you really got to know what you're doing. And fortunately, we have one of the great leaders.
You guys are doing a great job. That's right. Okay, good there for you. But you guys are taking action, though. That's the thing that's, if teaching stuff like that, people a lot of times will come in and take a class, but they get so sidetracked. Things you guys have really focused and put away kind of being a one-man band or two-man band trying to focus on everything. You focused really on that one side thing now.
Right.
Well, we have weaved off a few times.
It happens.
And, we've got sidetracked. There's no doubt about it. And that's what I think is so good about these masterminds. It refocuses you, it re-energizes you, and puts you back on track.
Mm-hmm. Scott, by yourself.
No, I totally agree. There are definitely days or times when we, may not be doing everything that we need to be doing, but that's what's good about working as a team is the other person picks you up, kicks you in the rear end a little bit and get you moving along and get you refocused again. So that's great.
Keeps you accountable to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Because I think if a lot of people are working by themselves, have a tendency to drift a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got each other, especially if you're meeting on a weekly basis, like I need to get this done, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Got to get this done, or I promised I'd hold him accountable or vice accountable to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, You're married as well, too, right, Dennis?
No.
No, not me. Okay, so I knew you were married.
Yes.
And your wife is very supportive of everything.
Yes. Absolutely.
Very great,
Mhm.
awesome lady. We've met her before.
Yeah.
Great stuff there for you. The thing I want to get at here and ask you is, you guys have had a little bit of a slower start when we got started in notes.
Right.
Making a few offers here and there, but then, okay, well, you were also very busy, if I remember correctly, after you came to the fast track.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How many deals have you guys closed now?
We just we're just at 25.
25. No, it's not bad. Over how long a period?
A year and a quarter.
That's not bad.
So
That's pretty good. I like that. 25 notes. That's good. You're getting that, getting those numbers down. What's your guys' big goals for the next 12 months?
12 months, 50 notes.
50 notes.
Yep.
Now, where are you guys buying, Dennis? Where's your market for the most part?
Pennsylvania, we have quite a few in Pennsylvania. We have several in Michigan.
Yep.
A couple in Indiana. We're in Missouri. Ohio, we have one or two. And the most recent assets were Alabama.
Okay. Cool. You guys are going after occupied assets primarily? Or primarily, but I imagine you're not afraid of doing a little bit of work coming from the fix and flip side, right?
Right.
We don't want the work.
Yeah, you don't want the work now.
My last flip about killed me. I said, that's enough of that. But we have one right now that we're involved in a major rehab, and it's been a little bit of a headache. We didn't realize it was non-occupied until we got to the property, per se. And it was quite a surprise once we opened the doors, and it's been quite involved. It's been going on for several months now, but we're finally at the point where the rehab is underway.
Yep.
And it looks like it's going to turn into a rental property for probably a year at least. So.
Okay. So you make some good money on that, or it was a little bit more of a surprise in the rehab side once you got into the property? Is that why you're keeping it as a rental for a while, or what?
Yeah, we initially tried to sell it.
Okay.
Once we, made sure that the borrower's out, we cleaned it out, and we originally had it listed, and we wanted to, go ahead and sell it, but the market, where we needed it to be, the market just didn't bear it. So plan B, we'll go and do the rehab, and we've got a great realtor in that area who's also property manager. So she manages her own rentals and other people's rentals as well. And so it seems like a win-win situation. So she's kind of watching over the rehab for us, and she's getting ready to get a renter in there for us. So.
Where's the property located, in case we got any listeners out there?
It's in Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Sharon. Okay. Not bad area there for you.
Yeah.
Out of the 25 deals that you guys done, are they termed non-performing? Maybe you're just some deed and lose, or you're selling them, or you're trying to keep them for cash flow? What's kind of been the makeup of the 25 so far?
We have several now that are performing, so we're just kind of letting them perform at least for a little while, and then we'll we'll figure out what we want to do from there. We'll get with the JV investors that we have on them and kind of get a feel for where they're at and what they want to do. Done a number of forbearance plans and got them reperforming again, so that's always great. But and we still have some that we're trying to work
working through there. Yeah. Cool. Big surprise for you guys now at 25 assets versus the beginning. What's been probably the biggest learning curve for you?
Probably the involvement and the time of the record keeping and the paperwork, and we're just at that point now where we're talking about hiring an assistant.
That makes sense.
So,
yeah, because there's a lot of moving parts with the paperwork and taxes and invoices and things like that. Payments coming in and payments going out.
Yeah, and keeping on top of everybody, making sure they are paying. If they're not paying, that we get back on track with them and get out to them again and find out what the issues are. So,
what would you say? Because when you started off, did you plan to be buying assets in those many different states, or just worked out that way with bids?
It just really worked out that way. I mean, we found some good assets that we liked, did some outreach to get realtors out in that neck of the woods. We have other investors in the group, in the Mastermind group, and the WCN crew that we reach out to and get good information on. And so, once you have a good base there, why not try it? If the asset is good and it's in a good location and you've got your people there. So
people that speak the same language and know what to look for the
Exactly.
same thing, right?
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. Now, out of the 25 assets, have all been like one-offs, or did you buy some that were like 3 or 4 in a pool,
The
or
last pool was 5 notes.
5 notes? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Awesome. From banks, hedge funds, private sellers.
hedge funds and some private sellers as well.
Okay. Now, are you funding these guys, these deals with your own funds or other people's money?
A few are funded with our money.
Sure.
The majority is funded through joint venture.
Now, has that been a difficult thing, or was that something that took a little time to get
That was
overcome?
the biggest surprise.
Really?
How fast and easy the money came.
Really?
Like you've always thought.
Well, but you can't
Find the deal, the money will come.
find the deal and money will come.
Yeah.
But did you you started marketing the
Oh,
deals
yeah,
though too?
yeah.
So talk about what's probably been the biggest for those listeners out there. I think that's one of the things a lot of people struggle with is like, okay, where am I going to find the money, right?
Correct.
Right.
And that's normal. Like, oh, I got this so much in my account, but I'm bidding on this much. Oh no, right?
Right.
You can hear it. You can hear it. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I think your honey hole tightened up a little bit right there too,
we've
Scott.
had those moments.
So, but that's okay. So, what was been the biggest bang for buck marketing to help raise the capital? Just sharing with your networks or emails or your local network? What?
Yeah, really, it's emails and just being real in your email and just telling people what you're doing, why you're doing it, the mistakes that you made. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I'm upfront with the people I email out to. But it's just getting out there and emailing to them, and they just call you up and just have a good conversation with them and just find out what they're looking for.
And I think he's being a little modest, but
No, that's not.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way he put the marketing together. We still have a lot of work to do on our marketing aspect, and that's huge from this weekend. But just basically the way he's broken down the deals on our deal analysis that we send to the investors, it's very, how do I want to say, layman terms, user friendly, very easy to understand, and the different exit strategies and where the money's coming from and how it's laid out.
That makes sense because you speak in terms that everybody understands, makes it easier versus talking above people's heads, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question for you because he came to the fast track and you came to, this is what, your second or third mastermind? Third mastermind. I want to know what you were thinking before you came to the first mastermind.
What have I got myself into? And I'll tell you that because of this. And back in our flipping days, we paid a lot of money to a guru, and we're very disappointed.
Okay.
And it ended up going nowhere. And I swore I'd never get involved again.
Right.
And I'm the one who kind of held him back a little bit at first. But after the initial involvement and getting into the Carson and program and so forth, it's just been amazing.
Good.
So
That's good. If you had a lot of people help you guys out with things, like you said, giving you advice or giving you vendors or realtors or stuff like that, or even driving by. If you need somebody in St. Louis, Michael's always good to drive by for you, right?
Awesome. We'll be checking in with them.
Now, where you guys are living at up in Michigan, there's a lot of assets. What are some of the things that those that are listening out there, whether it's across the radio station or listening on iTunes or any of the other podcasting platforms, what are some of the biggest things that probably people need to look at that they wouldn't know from not living there in Michigan or in Detroit or those areas?
personally, I would recommend to learn the demographics of Detroit.
Okay.
Especially if you're in the city of Detroit.
Okay.
There's a lot of great pockets of Detroit, and there's a lot of bad areas of Detroit, of course,
Sure.
as everybody will know. Either through a good realtor or someone in the network, reach out to us that we pretty much know the city and the good areas.
Yeah, it's specific zip code by zip code for the most part too.
Oh, yeah. And street by street.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. What you said, your emails, how often are you marketing out to your database? Is it like a weekly email or just as you have deals available, or how often?
No, it was weekly. And unfortunately, earlier in the year, kind of dropped off a little bit, slacked off a little bit, to more like monthly.
Sure.
But we're ramping that back up again. I mean, just like we were saying before, we slack off a little bit and we get refocused and we get right back into it.
You know what? That's normal for everybody.
Yeah, well,
Especially at the beginning of the year, especially going through the holidays and get back on track. It's kind of a normal asset for everybody.
But as you mentioned earlier, I think the accountability as a team has really played a part in us keep driving it forward.
Well, that's a huge thing. I mean, that's a really great asset to have. And you guys known each other for a long time. You probably know what each other's thinking part of the time.
Right.
Anyway, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
What has he done now?
Yeah. Now, What's been the what's been the easiest asset out of the 25? You have one that's been really easy to deal with, and then one's been difficult.
I would probably say the one in Gaylord that was in bankruptcy was
Oh,
the
yeah.
easiest.
Chapter
Beautiful
13
asset.
bankruptcy.
Where was this located?
Gaylord, Michigan.
Gaylord, Michigan. Okay. You bought the note. You knew it was in BK 13.
Yeah.
Is that a note or a contract for deed?
It's a no.
The note. Okay. And you knew it was in BK chapter 13.
Right.
So basically, when you're buying the note, you need to get somebody you could reach out to almost immediately, huh?
Right. Exactly.
Had the BK plan already been set up?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So is there money to collect almost immediately once you bought the note, or no?
Yeah. Once we transferred over the BK 13 to us, we just got the money coming in. Yeah, it was
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy money versus having to go out and fix and flip and stuff like that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Now, in Michigan, too, especially Detroit, you got a lot of growth going on there, a lot of rehab. But I also understand that there's, and I say this from as my own experience, that when you're on the outskirts of a city that's going through a lot of growth, it's a little harder to find contractors to get jobs done. Is that correct?
Well, fortunately, we haven't had to really do a lot of contractors
Right.
in Detroit. So I wouldn't really know the answer to
Okay.
that right now.
Right. There are definitely, there are some out there. It's difficult to find them because a lot of them are real busy.
Mhm.
But there are definitely good ones out there, and it's just a matter of asking around and trying to find them.
Cool.
Mhm.
Now, what's your long-term goal, guys? You mean you probably have a long-term goal you're thinking about. It's probably reevaluating it from month to month, year to year, and stuff. But
Well, I think we both have a little bit different of a long-term goal. I'm a little bit older than Scott. And my vision is retirement and
Yeah.
go off grid a little bit at that point. So I'm focused on more of a supplemental income
sure.
in retirement. And I think Scott here wants to keep growing this and growing and growing it. And our business arrangement will probably have to change a little bit down the road because of that. But
Yeah, but that's still a good thing. You can ramp it up, get to the point where you've got what you want coming in.
like what you said, what's your number?
Exactly. You've got a
Let me
number.
get
We've
to
all
my
got different
number.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all I
Awesome.
want.
Awesome. Anybody have questions out here listening? No? No questions for Scott now? Michael? No?
We're in St. Louis, so you're going to have me going.
So, yeah, Michael asks, where in St. Louis are you going to have him going? He doesn't know yet. Stay tuned for as
We'll let you know.
Don't know the address off the top of my head. Sorry.
You know, we should almost do something. Where in the world is Michael Slavin at? Where in the world are things going on? Now, what is with you buying in multiple states? What's been the biggest hiccup from buying in those different markets? Because a lot of people probably listen like, hey, I want to buy in my own backyard. Most people, I like to say, like, if I lived in Michigan or Ohio or Indiana or Illinois, I'd be like, I just be buying in my own state a lot of times because there's often a lot of inventory.
Right.
But you're not afraid of going outside your market. Now, the question I really probably want to ask, the question behind the question is, coming from a fix and flip side, where you got to go out and see it and touch it and feel it. How difficult was that for you buying something outside of your own market?
It was a little scary from my viewpoint. I think this weekend, especially with the Baldwin Advisory Group, the hot list, that's my goal coming out of here. Get into our markets where we're buying and set those vendors up. Set that up so we have immediate reach out available, whether it be a realtor, a contractor, whatever we need in those markets. So that's my goal after this, is to set that up as quick as possible.
That's helpful. What yourself, Scott?
Well, I think it's scary at first, but it's really just about getting to know the area before we buy in it. So, even if we weren't in St. Louis before, it's a matter of getting out there, making contacts, and finding out what's a good area, what's not a good area. I mean, everybody has their opinions on different particular areas. It's just a matter of asking for it. And
especially coming from Detroit. I mean,
yeah,
what do
exactly.
you, as not being from Detroit, what do you think? Well, we look at Detroit a whole lot different than, say, someone from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people think too, is like Steph and I like Michigan. I've been preaching about Michigan for a couple of years now. We jumped on a plane and went and spent a weekend.
We didn't
Would
get
have loved to meet you
we
for a
didn't get to
beer
see
that night, on a Saturday night. The text messages were trying to squeeze out the last of 50 assets to look at, but it's really some great areas up there.
Mhm.
It's not all the frozen tundra of M&M and 8 Mile Road, right? Like a lot of people think of.
No.
A lot of great blue collar, salt of the earth people live up there. Got some great value in homes, a lot of pride of ownership all over the state,
Absolutely.
and some great stuff out there. All right. Any other tips you want to, or anything, suggestions you want to give somebody who's thinking about getting in the note business from the fix and flip side, or any advice to somebody who's looking to maybe dip their toes in the notes?
I don't know about the fix and flip side. I tend to want to stay away from that as much.
Well, I mean, I'm saying anybody who's come from that background,
that's
why? Yeah.
I would say it's a lot easier and a lot less time involved in this space versus that. I mean, you're dedicated in that side to one property for, how many weeks to get that thing fixed and then sold. This side, you dedicate a little time to the paper trail of it and chase it down and get things going, and then you're moving on to something else.
You can run multiple deals at the same time versus a hurry up and wait. Right there. Scott, anything?
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, it's a whole lot easier working on multiple ones, and if you slip and fall on one, get right back up with where fix and flips. I mean, you're got all your eggs in one basket pretty much, or maybe a couple. But no, it's definitely better. The more, the merrier.
Awesome, guys. What's the best way for people to reach out to you or to be able to connect with you or find you?
Probably the easiest is by email or phone. So my email address is scott@secondchancepropertyinvestments.com. My phone number is 248-765-3986.
Cool. Dennis?
Just reach out to our website.
Secondchancehomes.com?
No. Second Chance Property.
Second Chance Property.
Investments.com.
I'll shut up. Say it again.
Thank you.
It's secondchancepropertyinvestments.com.
One more time.
Secondchancepropertyinvestments.com.
Awesome. You mind if they reach out to you, have any questions or looking at buying some assets?
No, that's wonderful. That'd be great.
Awesome. Well, proud you guys are doing it. 25 assets. Got a whole lot more you're going to be taking down.
Absolutely.
There you go. Go out, make something happen.
That's right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That'll wrap it up for this episode of the Net Closing Show, guys. Like I said, go out, take action. Don't worry if you're going to stumble along the way, but trust me, it's a little bit easier than the fix and flip side, like they said, of finding some deals and be able to work multiple deals at the same time versus just dealing with everything with one, right?
Right.
Awesome. See you guys at the top.